is still playing. Hold on. Too funny when we start these things. I'm like, oh, the music's still going. Oh, wait a minute, that's me. Welcome, everyone. It is Sunday Fun Day, and there's been a lot of integration going on, a lot of solitude, quiet, introspection, managing a frequency and vibration by not inserting into too much, if you know what I mean, right? To just stay really present. If we want to choose our highest timeline, for me, that means I'm not following, I'm not playing any games out there. I'm not inserting myself into the game, so to speak. Absolutely. And Norma Jean, how about you?
It's just like you said, staying as present as possible, just focusing on, what I need to focus on that I feel that's most important in our creative ambitions, so to speak, as to what we're wanting to continue to present here at Adventures for Connection. And it's the uniting with others that are doing the same, through that integral and honest and just beautiful energy to definitely ensure that this new world continues to be created and brought forth to signify and reflect that beauty.
Yeah, absolutely. I pulled a few cards before coming on. So we start with the Seven of Swords. Trickery. And these cards are great, by the way. So my daughter and both I'm always learning. That to me, there's no, you can say you've mastered something, well then you've stagnated yourself, right? So I'm always learning more. Lies, trickery, schemes, strategy, resourcefulness, sneakiness, and cunning. So to me, that's what's going on out there right now. Everyone's vying for the attention, and wherever you focus your energy, your attention, intention, energy flows. And so the Seven of Swords speaks greatly to that. In everyone's out there vying for your attention, whether it be a vote for me or it's a belief, and there's so much division still happening, and we're patiently observing and waiting for those to come around for this time of unity. That it doesn't matter what you think. We accept you as you are. Doesn't matter what you believe, for we know not how you were raised and what subconscious programming is within you. But we can honor you where you are and see you and hold space for you and hear you. And that's really what we do, right? So it's up to each of us. There's the judgment card came through, right? To self-evaluate, to take off the blinders and go, oh, it doesn't matter that they have a different belief than me. We want the same thing. And what you judge in others, you judge in self. Can you let go of judgment? Can you release it? Can you think of possible new beginnings with the Fool? New beginnings that are so magical, you can't even dream them up? Can you dream bigger, larger? Can you let go of those past thoughts and patterns that keep you where you are and go, I wonder how much more magical it can get. I wonder how much more beautiful it can get. I wonder how much more abundant it can get. So depending on what you're focused on. Remember, Jean?
Yeah, of course. It's wonderment is a good thing. If there's anything to get lost in, it's in the wonderment of the endlessness of possibilities, where we're not feeling so held back by those conditioned ways of thoughts, those manipulative ways of impressions that had been on us for so long. So, I mean, if there's anything to wonder about I used to say, people be like, oh, I wonder. And I'd be like, ooh, don't wander off too far. You might get lost. But it's one of those that with endless possibilities, get lost in them, but stay grounded. Yeah. That's the beauty to this now, is that now you can have these endless just creative processing of the the enormity of any and everything you can create by understanding that you're so powerful now. You have the choice to know that you can stand in your power and nobody can take it from you unless you let them. So
Absolutely. And I don't know where this card came from. It's the Page of Cups, but it was all of a sudden sitting out. And that's about innocence, new beginnings, possibilities. You know, I think of my daughter who turns 19 in January. And, you know, when she has this capacity to go, no, I don't believe that. I'm going to hold on to this, right? She really holds that which she desires. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I just know it, right? And she's always been that way and always said that. And absolutely, Andrea. And always impressed me that she can hang on to that, even though she has had a bit of a dark night of the soul. But she knows she can see her future. She's claiming it.
that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. To definitely speak against anything that doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that way anymore.
No. And she's even confessed so far as to say, you know, I have these thoughts and patterns around, I should be doing this or I should be doing that. And then she goes, no, that's not right, because that's not my way. That's not how I'm going to do it. So especially if she was watching her class graduated this year and she was watching a bunch of them go off to college, and I said, yes, those photos always look so beautiful and it always looks so much fun, but you don't know what's going on within the mind or what's happening there. I said, you know, you're right where you're supposed to be. And so revel in that, even though it may seem boring sometimes. That's okay. We'll make more fun. So yeah, absolutely. Today we wanted to talk about transforming, transitioning, transmuting, alchemizing. The energies for most of this week have been quite got it? Just dropped the card. This week have been quite strong. So I've been really called to keep my energy here. I did do a sound bath and healing. I don't know, some of you may have caught that. It's on YouTube Live. And in doing that, we're running through and, you know, really managing our space here. So being conscientious of what we're doing with our energy. Not to say it's just not, for me, it's not time to get out there with the masses, so to speak. So I've really been staying very quiet, very much around the house, reading, napping. Yesterday I napped twice. So that is a way of transmuting or alchemizing energy. It's okay. Many are going through a purge right now. That is another way of transmuting and alchemizing energy. Burning a candle and staring at it, or writing a letter of everything that's bothering you and burning it can alchemize energy. So you have this capacity within you. We just often forget that even cooking is alchemizing energy. Potions are alchemizing energy. Burning sage is alchemizing energy. Cleaning is alchemizing energy, right? Blowing things up is alchemizing energy, even if it's just visually. Like I do this thing that I learned in quantum where you take it and you literally build this little mini dynamite, and you run the wire over the dynamite and blow it up. It works. Go ahead, Norma Jean.
I wanted to bring this card forward.
The Magician.
Now,
yeah.
If you know anything, everyone knows that the first card in any tarot deck is the Magician. Why is this? Because the magician knows that in order to know how to alchemize and create in a harmonious way, the magician must become and understand alchemy. And alchemy deals with elements. So it's almost like becoming a chemist to a level and degree, but not in the way that is of chemistry outside of us, because there are two forms of alchemy. There's the internal alchemy, where we understand that what we speak to and the intention we have behind what it is we're wanting to transmute, alchemize through the form, in order for there to be that harmonious balance of our creative process. Then there's the other form of what they call the manifested state of alchemy, where they take the elements that are of form and they work with it and understand, excuse me, and understand how that works on that manifested state. And when we look at how alchemy has come to be what it became, this is where you begin to understand the thing about um, weights and measures. And weight comes up when it comes to mass. And in that mass, that means more density. Given that when we look at this world, look how much has been created. Excuse me. And in that creation, what happened was we lost that harmony and that balance for so long, where now we're gaining that back because we're now more in that live place, because we're more conscious of what it is that has taken place, what has been, created and formulated through the solidity, where we're beginning to understand, okay, it's time to stop creating on the manifested state and begin to come back to that harmonious balance of first understanding that the alchemy happens within us first. For everything that has ever been created came through us to begin with. We just were not conscious of it. But now we are in that space in place where staying conscious of understanding, we must master this again. We must master that the elements first work within us. And that's how we keep that balance of understanding the ash. Wow, my mind just went blank. I apologize. Of what is called the earthly realm to the astral realm, that they both work in harmony and in unison. So as you go along, I know that I'm still in the process of understanding alchemizing in ways that if I know that I'm setting an intention to speak a word and I'm speaking it, I must understand that before I speak it, I must know that if I'm doing it for my highest good, does that also include the highest good of the collective? And this is where we understand how being selfless comes into play through the understanding of the alchemization process of the words that we speak, since we are in a time and space where words are spoken. So it's like understanding what we've spoken to before. We were taught automatic writing in school. We were taught, the language and what it represents in school. In English, it's understanding how the adjective and the subject, the pronouns, the verbs, how all of those work in unison with one another, and knowing that there is an order to how that unison takes place as to how we verbalize through the word what we're setting our intention to.
Absolutely. And actually, let's do this together if you choose. We command, for the highest good of all, may it be the best outcome this week in the USA. For the highest good of all, we command it, so be it and so it is, so be it and so it is. So we can wish for one way or the other, but we want it to be for the highest good of all. And we may think that we know what the highest good of all is. But remember what we said earlier? Where is that wonderment and magic that how good can it get? How much better can it be? How much more love can we share? How much more common unity can we have? And so that is what I choose to command for the USA. I've never picked a side, although, there's obvious preferences out there. But to me, neither side is a win. What's above that? What's better than that? That's what I see. That's what I choose. I choose love and for the highest good of all. Always and always. And so be it. And so it is. Yeah.
Yes.
So choose wisely. I do have a friend who is from New York and living in Canada, and she mailed in her ballot and she voted for herself.
There you go.
Which I thought was quite good. That was Karen.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Absolutely. So, we'd love to hear from you. How do you alchemize energy? Are you aware that you're alchemizing every day when you drink water and then you go pee? Or when you eat food and then you have to go to the bathroom? When you sleep, you're alchemizing. Your body is like full force. Everything's going on while you're sleeping, which is maybe why when we are feeling unwell, which I call an upgrade, that we tend to rest even more because it is what is allowing our body to do that upgrade, to go from carbon to crystalline, to vibrate at a higher frequency and handle these vibrations easier. There's many, like so many souls right now that have been going through upgrades. Absolutely. And we're not immune to those. We're supporting, we're going through them.
It's beautiful you bring that up.
All right.
Because as you're just talking and speaking of this, there is so much truth to the fact that, our bodies at night are working so hard for us and we don't even know it. But sometimes that's a good thing, because you see, if you take that rest and you're resting and your body's doing what it needs to without you being conscious of it, which really, when you come to understand the body, it does everything it needs to do, as long as we're not hindering that process with our thoughts. So when the body is at rest, those cells are working hard for you because they innately already know what needs to take place in the body. So as you're going through these new energies and we're moving to that crystalline, our DNA is picking up on this vibratory frequencies that are taking place here in our experience. I'm sorry, y'all. You have to bear with me right now. So as we're going through this experience and our body those cells are doing what they need to on an innate, natural level, and you wake up and you say, ugh, what's this from? Understand that even though it seems to be a struggle, be grateful, because what's taking place is your body's doing what it needs to be doing without you even having to be a part of it, because it's doing it on that natural cycle now. You don't have to sit here and beg and plead. Oh, I don't want to feel this way. Oh, I don't want to, this, that, or the other. I remember when I used to be through that. Oh, no, I do not want to feel this. So, our first natural reaction would be go to grab something to immediately not feel the way that we felt, which, given at that period in time, was a totally different energetic state. But now we come to understand these energies. The cells are working with that energy. And it's purifying us. It's doing its own alchemical process. So even when we feel like we're in that struggle, say thank you. Thank you, body, for doing for me what I'm still understanding how to do along with you. So I know not to be in the way of this process that you already innately and naturally know how to do. So that's what it was, given to share with you, is that it's all natural. It's all natural in a state and space where the vibratory frequency of this vessel is beginning to rise for the first time in a very, very long time. Even is adjusting, but it knows how to adjust better without us being in the way by what we speak about it. So be kind to that body. Be grateful and say thank you. Thank you for knowing how to do this, because you're showing me how to do this as well on that conscious level. So even though it seems strange or weird for me to speak this, it's probably the most powerful and empowering statement that I can give you at this time, so that you may understand that if you're going through this process, then you're going through it because you are one of the ones that are coming to that space and place of wanting to know so much more about yourself. And that says you want to be on that higher frequent vibratory state of being, because you knew what it was like to be down here where the frequency and the vibration wasn't so high. And the body's excited, and it wants you to be excited with it. So it needs your love. It needs your care. It needs for you to speak that love when you speak about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you're perfect right where you are. There's nothing to chase. There's no thing you need to do except just be you. Just be you and get to know you. And Norma's right, that gratitude for the body. If you wake up and here's what I do. If I wake up and I feel a little sticky, so to speak, I will get up and move my body, do some stretching, talk to my body. Thank you. Thank you for doing all that hard work at night. And I'm so grateful. And so then move that energy, because quite often that's what it takes. It's like you got little cobwebs that built up, and or I need to stretch my fascia now, right? I need to move my body now. And so quite often it's a little bit of yoga. It can be jumping on the trampoline. Yeah, absolutely. To renew. Absolutely, Kriba.
And just Fritz, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
You can ask her. I was waking up on and off throughout the night because I was waking up in what people would just call night sweats. But what it is like I said, when we're not a part of the process and we could wake up because we're soaking wet, then what's happening is that process is happening naturally because we're not hindering it. Yet we're aware of the reaction that the body is having to these energies. And there were times that I was tired, and there'd be times we'd be walking, I'll be like burning up, and she's like, "You okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just my body's going through this period, and it's going through this time where at certain points that I would get so hot. I mean, I would have to find a way to get cooled off. And then of course, through that sweating, the body's going to be cold because now it's like it's just those alchemical processes that are taking place that we sweated out so much of these chemicals and so much of what wasn't good for this form that when we get cold, that speaks to that this is the washing away of that on the surface. So when we understand how things take place on Earth, it's the same thing for the body because the Earth is the replication of the body.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And yeah, just Fritz is saying, struggling the last few days of not wanting to leave home. Thank you. Yeah, it's absolutely okay. So, there's you do as you are called to do. There are times when I'm pushed to actually get out and interact and get outside, go to the beach, take mom's dog for a walk, go to this store and do this, like whatever needs to be done. I think right now I need to gas up, and I've been putting that off for a few days. I'm like, I'm not going to go yet. And I know that Sunday happens to be the most expensive day, so we'll wait. But there's nothing wrong with being at home and being comfortable. The only time I find it can be more challenging is if you're hiding from everything and everyone at home. And I'm not saying that you are, I'm just saying in general, many people go through that process of going inward where it's like, I don't want to deal with anyone else. I don't want anyone else's energy. But eventually you have to come out of that, right? But that's like that metamorphosis stage. And then you purge and you come out and you deal with it in a new way. Hello, Miss Chastia. Yeah, the mistake would be leaving too soon when you're not ready. Exactly. Yeah. So we're all learning how to operate in this new world, so to speak.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because I have to, and I want to speak to this because since coming here to Canada, I guess you would kind of say that I've things have changed for me dramatically. But most people would call what I do isolation, and to a level degree, it's been what you would call more of that positive isolation, not because I'm withdrawing from the world, but because I'm in the process of understanding my world.
Yes.
And so I haven't had a phone. I mean, I'm on the internet and stuff. Y'all know this because of, the things that I create. But it's a little different when you don't have that phone. So I've been without a phone. I don't have what you call a checking account and things like that. Anything that I did have that was, of a material other than clothes that I brought here is still in Georgia. So it's kind of like, going through this this process that the body is doing. It's because I chose to change things and walk away from things that I needed to in order to get to that place of an ultimate and fullness of a clearing for this world. And this is my process. This was my way of understanding what I felt was the best and highest good for me, so that I may be able to come and approach you and others that are here on this podcast in assisting you and guiding you in understanding how to do that for self. Because my process may not be your process. What I'm speaking to is that this process has gotten me to a space and place where I have more of a clarity of mind. For my heart is what tells the brain what the mind needs to know as far as where my truth about my world, the world that I am, resides, is. So yeah, it's been a process, because if this had been me 5 years ago, if I left my phone somewhere, I'd be like, where's my phone? I left my phone and this, that, and the other. Now I just got to where even before I got here, I was like, I don't care. I just didn't have that care.
There is one time that we were all out and about and we lost Norma Jean for a few minutes, and of course there's I'm like, oh no, she'll turn up. We just got to
we'll magnetize at some point. I'll just look around because because we was in a Walmart.
Yeah, how far can England
and it
go?
wasn't even that big of a Walmart. That was a funny thing.
We're on our way to, where were we going?
With Savory.
Savory. That's right. Yeah, you got to stop sometimes and get things on your way. Yeah, that's right.
She was moving, I was moving, so it was kind of like, we was just
going in circles.
But eventually we ended up meeting up, because I knew I would find her. She's short. I mean,
oh, just frets. I can only imagine. I have a girlfriend who had a Kundalini awakening in a yoga class and got kicked out. And she didn't even know what it was. So absolutely. Yeah. You might want to look, and I'd be curious to know whether or not it fell on when your moon sign was active. So if you look at the moon sign calendar, that tends to be a window for many where it is more activated, which would give you a little bit of a read. Other than that, it really, I'd be curious. Yeah, it depends on your chart. So if you know Chastia, then maybe that definitely helps. Absolutely. Oh, here we go. When we are processing, if we're around a bunch of people, we alchemize their stuff too. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, beautiful. Chastity, you should just be on here with us. Ain't going feminine to make moves. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is. It's like the waves, the tides come in and the tides go out. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
more than once. I can tell you more than once.
Yeah. Well, there we go. And yeah, we're not somewhere we frequent, and we kind of get in and get out of there pretty quick.
Well, it was within a mall too.
Yeah.
This is a Walmart.
A very dead mall. It's in Powell River. It was like most of the stores were closed. It was like, this is really weird. This is not.
It was not of the norm.
No, not at all.
So,
but I think it's a new norm coming up. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So check. I'd be very curious because it might just give you a bit of a gauge that helps out 100%. Yeah. Hi, Jen. Absolutely. Yeah. Chastity, there's no rules about you coming on more than once a month. You know that. So we'll just leave that there. But once a month at the end of the month, Chastity will be coming on and we will be giving topics and having discussions. So this is about Cohu 32 for those that don't know. Tropical astrology. I've been likening it to the Matrix. And then because the Matrix, and there's been others in control of the Matrix, it's become convoluted since our birth. And so getting realigned with above the Matrix into astronomy with your stars for when you came into this Matrix can help realign you and get you to understand yourself better. So in this process of Norma and I getting to know ourselves better, this has been a huge tool. And it's interesting to observe the shifts, and just I'm in a huge observation mode where I'm not not attaching to anything. I'm just observing. Oh, interesting, that's happening. No, I don't want that in my reality. It's like, but I'm not riding any emotions like this, which generally is what happens. Speaking of which,
well, I'm gonna tell you, I mean, just the process for me has just been more of an easement, and it's
wait, we have to speak to what we're doing.
So
Finish your
I'm sorry.
sentence.
But yeah, it's being able to understand and definitely listening to Chastia when she has her lives, even though there may be some of these that you may not understand all of what she is speaking to, but what that does is also helping to tune you to those levels and those frequencies, so it helps more with the alignment. So that way in time, what she's doing is when she speaks, she's actually toning those DNA codes within you. So it's it's great.
Yes, go ahead. Well, when you're listening to Chastia on YouTube, many of you are sharing that you're getting bits and pieces. That's okay, because she's high vibrational, cosmic, as I like to say. So tuning into that frequency, but even if you don't understand, you're not comprehending everything, you're getting what you need for this time frame. And so don't be afraid to maybe go back a year and see what she was speaking to then.
Yes.
That may be showing up even now, so that you can start to sort of piece things together a bit if you're a curious person. Absolutely. Well, we try and be funny. Everyone's funny in here. We're just having a conversation every single time. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right. So, Normandy, this is the draw. So once a month, if you sign up for our newsletter, and look, there's lots of them in here. Thank you, guys. We're so excited to have you. You sign up for a newsletter, then you get put into a free draw to have an hour session with me, in which I do a custom meditation, which can be very healing and grounding. And you do that for 21 days. And if you choose, come back. And what that does is it resets your subconscious. And that, to me, is the most powerful way of moving through anything going on, is just to be present with yourself and reprogram your subconscious so you can show up differently. So let's see who wins.
And do know you do not get taken out. Only the ones who win get taken out. The rest stays in there. So
you get another opportunity. Yeah.
Darlene Hollingsworth.
Darlene Hollingsworth. Congratulations. Dun, dun, dun. I don't know if you guys can read that. No, that's not going to work. Oh, there we go. Kind of. There we go. Look at that. Magic. Drum roll. Oh, now I got us unzoomed. Yeah, we're trying to have fun. Yeah. The best part is when you remember the pieces I did. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so we've been playing around with this. Yeah, absolutely. And then we've been working with people. We've got the questions, which is the menu, with the menu that Chastia has created, menu of questions, which we were working with one of our dear souls today on that and asking specific questions, especially because the two of us share some of those with her. Quite often you'll find within the people there's commonality, not just with numerology or genealogy, but also with this. So again, these are all just points of reference where you're like, oh yeah, I know this about you because of this, this, and this, and it's me too, or it's her too.
Oh, it's just fun. It's fascinating that, it's like just to see things kind of fall into place of something that I utilized prior to coming across and meeting up with Chastia and seeing what she was able to put together and bring in through her, understanding of everything that she has come into for herself, and seeing how beautiful that process can be for individuals that want to know more about themselves, to find that that reset that helps with the better direction of navigation of this journey for self. So yeah, it's I'm having, I have fun with this because it's just, it's an anticipation thing just to see what comes through. Because even with who we're speaking to today, it becomes almost like I'm channeling information because I'm there, I'm present. And there are things that will come through that I'm like, oh, interesting, because I never would have thought of that. Of course not. I wouldn't have thought of that, not without that guidance, not without that assistance. So what I do at night is I ask my ancients, assist me, show me in my travels the things that I may need to understand, so it just comes through naturally. So
absolutely. Absolutely. And it's only in those quiet moments, only when you can get quiet, and only when you ask questions are you actually going to get answers. So if you're waiting for downloads and you're just sitting there and you're waiting and waiting, you got to ask. You got to ask for my highest good. Can I know, right? Can we have some answers, or can this show up? So for example, this trampoline here that you can see in the background showed up. I've been thinking about it a few months ago, and then I kind of put it off because I'm like, I'm going outside. Where the hell are we going to put a trampoline in the house? Like, seriously, girl. And then it came back up again because it's starting to rain more. And I'm like, I got to move my body. Like, that's one of my fundamental requirements. Like, otherwise, I feel like an animal in a cage. And kind of you are in your house sometimes. So you got to get out. But anyways, at least like the hamster has the hamster wheel, I got a trampoline. But as I didn't tell her I was picking it up because I got it on, it showed up on Marketplace for half price, right? It's one of those, somebody had it down the corner. I went and chatted with her for a bit. We had a great conversation. But then I messaged her, Jean, hey, come help with the car. She comes out. Oh, go ahead.
I don't know what it was. She likes to think that I influenced her, but I didn't. But anyways, it was like 2 or 3 days. 2 or 3 days ago, it came into my visual. And I'm like, why am I thinking about a trampoline? And of course, it was just one of those, because I was in the, focusing on other things. It just came through, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's nice. Why did that come through? And then I forgot to mention to her. She shows up 2 or 3 days later and asking me to come out to help her. And I'm like, open up the back, and I'm like, that's funny.
Right? But I am the most consistent on it so far. Everyone's bounced on it a bit, but I'm up to 15 minutes. So, and it's much needed for my energy.
I'll have to do it. I'll have to do a filming where she's on it, and I'll have a bucket of water above her while she's doing it. And we'll do like a redo of the flash dance thing, but it'd just be more on a higher vibrational frequency here. So,
right. Chastity, I look forward to hearing about the trampoline thing, right? Confirmation with the trampoline. We took down the Brotherhood. Oh, awesome. Well, who knew, right? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Bye, Andrea. Have a good night. Hope you're feeling better soon. You know that. You've got this. Absolutely. Yeah, well, who knew? And moving that energy, right? With the trampoline. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's just fascinating because I mean, this right here is just confirmation that, just the energetics between her and I, that partnership, that connection, that we don't even have to, we got to where we really don't have to speak much to one another. And it's just, sometimes we'll mention something and they're like, oh, I was focused on that just a little while ago. Or it's just, we pick up, like earlier I started warming water, and it was like, I'll ask T if she wants to have, hot tea, because I was fixing hot chocolate. So anyways, we won't go into that.
I didn't say anything.
But it was like, while she was focusing on it, I was picking that up. But when she got involved, it was something else that she was doing. By the time I got done fixing my hot chocolate, we were on another conversation, and I forgot. So she gets up later and she's like, and I was like, why didn't you tell me you wanted some hot tea? And she's like, well, I forgot. And I was like, so did I, because I remember saying I was going to ask you for it, and I forgot. So it's like things like that right there is like, wow, that's just so fascinating, because it's almost that telepathy coming through, that, we're so connected at that level.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's actually becoming quite comical, because we have to be careful. No, we need to be conscientious of that which we think about, because it'll start coming in faster. Yeah, absolutely, for everyone at this point. So if you can imagine, can you think of a time that you thought about something and then it happened? Can you right now think of a time recently? Can you put your awareness on asking for signs to come in? For me, it was feathers for a very long time. Absolutely. Yes. Telepathy is completely natural. I agree. Can you practice telepathy? I try it with the cat. And we get weird messaging sometimes.
We were just having a conversation about that earlier because what was it? You was giving him something so he wouldn't caterwaul while we're on our live because we fell back an hour. So
We fell back.
okay, well, the world.
Look
Look at it. So yeah, we were talking about that earlier, and she's like, "Well, I got that he said this, and it was something." Anyways, it was funny, but she said that, and I was like, "Well, I just got that he said no. It's just that you're just now hearing me,
right? Oh, then now I'm able to
paying
tune
attention."
into him. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Cheating is not an option, right? In this energy, absolutely not. Or lying. You're only lying to yourself. That's the other thing that's been coming in strongly. And we're going to start calling people out even more in public if something is not right or there's something done wrong, because this is the energy we're in. It's about this I want to say quintessential. Where the hell does that come from? Quintessential truth. Yeah, it's a quintessential truth of all that is. Yeah. The Matrix fell back an hour. Thank you. That's a much better explanation. Absolutely. Yeah. Terrible time, but have great timing. Yes.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's also being able to, the one thing I also recognize too is that it helps me with understanding things that I need to realize about choices that took place, that whether I was conscious of them or not, and even in my awareness, it's about being able to come to that space and place of owning it and taking responsibility and accountability. And, in that, I'm able to alchemize and understand what I did. I may not know fully the choice or the purpose of why something happened. And at this point, it may not even matter anymore, because that means as long as I've recognized what I've done and I make right, I correct what I felt I did, like even projecting something, and I make and correct that by recognizing it and speaking to it, especially to the one that I know that I did it to. Then what that does is it helps me to move past that, or helps me to alchemize it in understanding that I might not have understood why I did it at the time. I just was aware that I did it. I didn't know why, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that I was able to recognize what I had done.
444. Sorry, I just said 444 before it's too late. Recognize what you'd done. Sorry. I knew you'd need that.
Recognize what I had done, and I spoke to it. I felt I did what I needed to correct and make it right. Not as even though it was something I had projected, I knew that once I spoke to it, then what that did is it did alchemize it. Gave me that awareness to know not to do it again.
100%. Absolutely. 444, 644. Yes, absolutely. Probably felt it too. Absolutely. Well, and that's kind of what we're in that state and place of. Thank you for pointing that out, Jen, is really what are you feeling? And we've said this for quite some time. It doesn't matter if your mind thinks it's right or wrong. What do you feel when that's going on? Or what do you feel when you read about this? Or what do you feel when you listen to this? Because there's a lot of questions over the last year about frequency and vibration. Should I listen to this? And should I listen to that? We say, how does it make you feel? Oh, all music is tuned to the wrong frequency. But it makes you feel bad when you listen to it, or do you enjoy it? Because that's really what matters. So do you really think your body can be discombobulated by frequencies if you're enjoying it? That doesn't make sense to me. So this is why we say go by always how you feel, not what your mind is trying to like pick up and, oh, look at the powers that be have done to us now.
Well, yeah, and a lot of it, it's great that you point that out because it is about how you feel. The thing about it is when somebody asks you that, you're like, what? What does that mean?
Yeah.
Because for so long we denied how we felt,
Yes.
or we were denied being able to express our feelings. So now it's like when somebody comes up and asks you, well, how do you feel about that? They're like, what?
Yeah.
What? Well, I think that no, not what you think.
Mhm.
How do you feel? What is your body telling you? What is it that, is it like, that don't feel so good? Or is it, oh yeah. Mhm.
Right?
So when we get out of the process of what I think, and then of course that comes through with it.
I think, therefore I am.
But when we get out of the processing of thought, we break those habits in a level and degree because we stop ourselves, because now you are in a space and place where now you're being asked, how do you feel? And getting back connected with that and in tune with that, because your feelings are what is your frequency. And it's your greatest asset, which helps you with that intuitiveness. It helps you to guide, because the one thing that the body's going to tell you is whether you might be able to place, reason why it's there or not, is telling you something because something in your, in your environment showed up and it's triggering. So your body's telling you, hey, over here, just like with my shoulder, if I've got pain between my shoulder, then that means there's something in my past that is showing up because it was something I embodied, and it's just showing up. Sometimes it takes a little time to recognize what that is connected to or pertains to.
Talk got too sexy this round. I think, therefore I am. Yes, Kriba. Sometimes being asked how I feel feels like a bit like a loaded question.
Right?
Absolutely.
And kind of in a way it is loaded because of the weight.
Yep.
But once you're able to express that, what happens? Man,
Or-
there's a huge load I just dropped.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, last time you shared something significant with me that you came into this realization, and she's like pacing outside. It's like, whoa, what's going on here? She just came into a huge realization, but it was her process. It wasn't so much, it wasn't like I had taken all that on, but it was part of her releasing that allowed her to move into a new place and position, which was really beautiful. Absolutely.
Yeah, because I knew that for me in my process, it's about me correcting what I had come to realize I had done, even though I didn't understand what I had done at the time or why or the purpose. So it's, it was in that projection, it was something that I come to understand that it was something I wasn't ready to own or to alchemize just yet, because it still was so heavy for me, because it dealt with the heart. And in this process, the beautiful thing that I come to experience and come to know is that this beautiful light being has shown me that you can be loved for who you are, right or wrong, good or bad. That the one thing I had the hardest time experiencing was experiencing a love without conditions to it. That, even though it was like, it was almost a test for me to see who, it's almost like I put her to a test, but it was my test. That, okay, since you say you're this loving being, here, hold this for me.
Come on up.
Kind of thing. But when I came to speak to it, speak about it, I still received the same amount of love, even whenever I spoke to what I had done. And it's beautiful. It's profound. And that's where you come to understand that truth of connection does exist, because it exists within the heart of all of us, because that's where we're connected.
And that is the NU earth I feel and see. And I've been seeing and feeling for, gosh, over a year, where I'm like, oh, I can see it. Oh, it's so beautiful. Are we there yet?
Right?
And
Yes.
it's that unconditional love with, right? Unconditional means there's no conditions, right? Yeah. We learned just speaking the words did her. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And then, and that's all we've ever wanted, is to be loved, right? As children, we come in as love. That's, oh my gosh, I get to go and I pick my family and they're going to love me. You're showing the love they will have for you when you come in. And it's only through the conditioning and programming that a lot of that was blown apart or discombobulated. Come on up, dude. Come say hi. Cat's starting to meow for dinner. Like, come on, I'm hungry now. So, but we come in as this pure love, like, yeah, we're here, right? And over time, that's sort of, through the conditioning and the programming, our original unconditional love is filtered over and then suppressed and shifted and transformed. And it's really takes courage to come back through and go through this all on your own, and then trust someone else again, and trust, there's just so much to this to unpack. We came in at such a transformative time. We picked the families to clean up the lineage of, so that we can all move forward this way. We can't move forward if that lineage isn't clean, because it's in our DNA. In order for DNA to be cleaned up, we had to pick those that needed the biggest transformation to be transformational for the greater good of all. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah. And that's what I've been feeling. Yeah. Oh, come up. Can you guys hear him? He's like,
right.
It's hijacked. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's only when we come back to this unconditional love for all sentient beings, for nature, for everything, even those that we may not agree with them, but we can still love them from where we are.
Yep.
It doesn't mean we want to change them. They're having their own experience, and their experience is as valuable as my experience. So I don't have judgment on that. It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. We all have that process. We have that process of understanding that our purpose is to understand the Dharma from what the karma is showing us, so that way we may be able to meet that Dharma, that purpose for while we're here at this time, as opposed to, the chances or opportunities before where we wasn't able to finish this. We're able to now. We have that power. We are standing in it right here, right now, doing that.
Yeah.
And nothing is hindering us from this. Nothing is telling us we can't speak to our truth right here, right now.
For the first time, right? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. A backhoe and an extra map. Oh, I know. We know. Yeah, some of us definitely had a little more challenge than others, but it's not to say that the transformation that we are all doing at this time is that alchemization for the greater good of all. And we can hold this resonance, this frequency and vibration at a higher level, so that others may find it too. Yeah. We went back to tractor.
Yeah.
Backhoe tractor. I tell you. Yeah.
And we knew if we was going to show up, we was definitely bringing what it was we needed to show up with. See, that's stepping into that empowerment, coming to that space and place of remembering within ourselves who we are in all this. That's stepping into your power, because here in this now time space, it's, for me, it's, oh wow, I am this powerful. Now it's like when I realized that back in Shasta, when I came and I had the experience I had, and I came out and I was like, I don't want to fail. I don't want to fail. I don't want to fail. I understand now what I was speaking to. And what that means is I don't want to fail myself, but I for sure do not want to fail the human race. It's very vitally important.
Yeah,
to me.
absolutely.
But I know that in order for me not to fail them, I must not fail me first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree to this consciously. Absolutely.
Metatron, Babylon. Yeah.
Barbadolian. We're going to need a dictionary, Chastia.
And it's funny because
actually we don't. We get it.
Just doing, those things that were, I was doing research on the ficus, and of course it takes me to something else, and I'm like, oh, well, what does this mean? What does that mean? Of course, it's bringing up the Babylonian time to understand that. It was like I read something where it was like, in order for I think it was Chaldeans to be able to read something for an hour, they had to put forth 50 hours of labor. In the way that it expressed it, I was like, what does that mean? So it was for the candle, or the wax that they used for the candle then, that it was a longer process in order to be able to sit and read these tablets at the time. And I can't think of the name of it. It doesn't matter, but inscribed tablets, because they were studying the knowledge that was left behind on tablets. But when you look at this and you understand AD and BC, or at least what I came to understand today through that, is like, okay, well, Babylonian didn't exist till AD. Interesting. Okay. So it's one of those that as you go through this process of coming to understand that everything you need resides within you, sometimes you may have to hit those places of information that brings that forth. It's just profound to come to that realization and recognition of, okay, now I'm beginning to understand some of this time and what it represents as to the history that was left behind in order for us to be able to revert back to when we came to this time where some of us, like myself, because I'm so much here, needs that information just to look at for it to bring it forward.
You've been doing a really good job of acknowledging your body.
Thank you.
Yeah, don't forget to, so you're talking about, I'm here. Good, you're no claiming that. Yeah. Alchemizing with the better body, better and better every day. Absolutely. Yeah. Just saw us in a circle 12. Nice. And it's funny because there's something called Circle K as well, which is a store. Yeah, absolutely. There, I've seen many circles of souls connecting and being very loving and supportive. And that's, to me, even when I was working with Mind Valley and I was hosting seminars, it's like everything's set up with chairs and then a stage, and I'm like, nope, everybody in a circle. And so we would just have conscious conversations, because that's what people wanted, was connection. They already knew the material. Like, I don't really want to teach this. It's, you guys already know this. You're here to meet each other, to find more like-minded souls. And that's how I started Adventures for Connection, was connecting like-minded souls as we go through this process called life. Absolutely. Filling in that gap. Yeah. Oh, well, Rebecca, that's one that I think has been required to alchemize recently, because, I had bacon cookies, and yeah, we definitely had a little round, so to speak.
I'm going through that phase myself right now. I have been for about 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
Especially with this hot chocolate stuff. So it's quite fascinating when, having a conversation about women, it seems as though a lot of 80s stuff is coming through. That just speaks a lot to that was my childhood. So of course it's like, okay, so I understand why I'm sitting here drinking so much hot chocolate, because it's almost like that nurturing.
Remembering being that age. So depending on the age you were, so I graduated in 88, and yeah, we lived on sugar as teens, right? That's just how it was.
And in 88, I was 13.
Yeah. Yeah, when you're burning more carbon. Awesome. Good to know. See, Rebecca?
Oh, thank you, because that makes me feel better too.
Yeah, well, and I've never judged it. I'm just like, it just is. And that's okay. So I find it interesting too, Chastity. I find that one goes through these phases where you expand and then you contract, and then you expand and then you contract. And it just seems like it's part of the process, and I have no judgment on it whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm in a bit of it expansion right now.
Yeah, there we go. See, we're not alone.
Hey, like a 13-year-old girl, all 29.
Right? And at 13, you just fry it all off. Right? I wasn't even one in 1988. Yeah. Arlie!
Hey, love. Good to see you.
So good to see you, my love. Grateful you're here. We're just wrapping up. Absolutely.
I get it.
Mary Magdalene line brought sugar plantations. It's part of the burning process. Perfect. Yeah, that's okay. So what if you just accept it? Because as soon as you attach to it, I'm having too much sugar, that's perpetuating it. So just detach from it. Oh well, this is a process. Like everything else, it'll alchemize and change at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm like that every night.
Look, let me put it.
Yeah.
I drink this at night before I go to bed. And when I get up, I have these like puffy eyes, and I'm like, oh, I know better than to do that, but it's just there. I just do it. It's like I'm just giving my body what it's asking for and just not denying it. And I may pay for it a little bit in my look in the morning when I'm like puffy eyed and I'm like, and I'm having to, use warm water just to get them to go down. I'm like, that is not who I am, but I get why I'm looking this way. I'm just saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Jumbo donuts. Tell the cupcake to make you skinny while you burn the carbon. Absolutely. I've actually saved a bunch of recipes, which are like a fudge done with dates. And so different ways of having the same sugar, so to speak, or the same sweetness without the sugar. So I'll keep you guys posted on that because I definitely get into that. Absolutely. It works while you start. Yeah. Absolutely. Expansion, contract, just like the universe. It's breathing. Yeah. Jade's full of diamond codes too. Absolutely. All right, you guys, we're gonna bounce. Oh yeah. Oh good, we're glad you caught a little bit. Yeah, absolutely. There you go. Well, it's good to see you. Arlie was a little bit displaced out of Florida during the storms, and we're trusting you will land somewhere even more magical.
Yes,
absolutely. Yeah.
Please stay in touch. Let us know if you need anything. Let us know.
Yeah.
Just stay in touch.
Told you get in the car and come on up. Gonna start a convoy. All right, you guys. We love you so much. Absolutely. Yeah. We're sending you lots of love. Yeah. Have a beautiful night. And we will see you on Wednesday. And there was something else special going on. What was coming up? Oh, you'll have to wait till Wednesday to find out. I love you. We love you.